Qantas 876, runway
Qantas
27,
162, exit left at uniform 1.
1000.
Runway 27,
Exit left at uniform 1, Qantas 162.
1000.
Qantas 409, Sydney Tower, wind 295 at 7, runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway
34 right, cleared for takeoff. Qantas for 09.
New Zealand 214, contact Melbourne departure 129.4. Contact Melbourne departure 129.4, New Zealand 214.
Above. Minimum.
Qantas 876, contact Melbourne departure 129.4. Contact Melbourne departure 129.4, Qantas 876.
50. 40.
All aircraft be advised, information Juliet now current H1025, runway 34 right. Melbourne Tower, velocity 7.
New Zealand 240, Sydney Tower, wind 295 at 7, runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff.
Velocity 726, Melbourne Tower, continue. Runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff. New Zealand 240, velocity 726.
Auto brake on.
Qantas 409, contact Sydney departure 129.7.
Exit left at Juliet, Qantas for 09, departure 129.7, Qantas for 09.
Velocity 827, ready to go,
Sydney
runway
departure,
27.
Qantas for 09, good morning, 2,000 feet.
Velocity 827, Melbourne Tower.
Qantas
Wind 200 at 6, runway 27, cleared for takeoff.
Climb to flight level 160. Runway 27,
Climb to
cleared
flight
for
level
takeoff.
160,
Velocity
Qantas for
827.
09.
Pilot's boarding started.
Qantas 40.
Crew boarding starting.
Advise on initial contact you have information Sierra. Kingsford Smith Airport information Sierra. 2012 Zulu. Wind 305 at 8. Visibility 10 miles or more. Few clouds at 4000. Temperature 09er. 2.07. QNH 1025. VFR conditions. Landing and departing runways 34 right, 34 left. Transition level 110. Read back all hold short instructions. Advise
Qantas for 09, ready to copy IFR clearance to Melbourne Airport.
Passengers boarding starting.
Qantas 409, Sydney delivery. Expect runway 34 right, Marab 7 departure, Wollongong transition. Initial climb to 6,000 feet. Squawk 6601.
Marab 7 departure, Wollongong transition. Squawk 6601. Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, read back correct. Contact ground 121.7 when ready for pushback or engine start.
We'll contact ground 121.7 when ready for pushback or engine start. Qantas for 09, thanks.
Qantas 409, you're welcome.
Velocity 551, hold position for traffic. I'll call you back.
Hold position for traffic, velocity 551.
Qantas 141, at gate 55, request pushback and engine start. Jetstar 912, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6.
Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, Jetstar 912.
Velocity 551, continue taxi.
Continue taxi, velocity 551.
Qantas 141, Sydney ground, pushback and engine start approved. Face south. Pushback approved, face south, Qantas 141. Velocity 551, request taxi. Velocity 551, runway 34 right taxi via Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07. Runway 34 right taxi via Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07, velocity 551. Velocity 551, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6.
Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, velocity 551.
Eastern 260, gate Delta 68, request pushback and engine start. Velocity 551, hold position for company traffic. I'll call you back. Hold position for traffic, velocity 551. Eastern 260, Sydney ground, pushback approved. Face south. Pushback and engine start approved. Face south, Eastern 260. Qantas 141, request taxi to the active. Qantas 141, runway 34 right taxi via int 5, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 34 left. Runway 34 right taxi via int 5, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 34 left, Qantas 141. Velocity 551, continue taxi. Continue taxi, velocity 551.
Rex 314, at gate Delta 31, request pushback and engine start. Rex 314, Sydney ground, pushback approved. Face south. Pushback and engine start approved. Face south, Rex 314. Jetstar 402, contact Sydney Tower 124.7. Contact Tower 124.7, Jetstar 402, have a good morning.
Refueling truck is on its way.
Velocity 551, cross runway 07 at Bravo.
Arrives and
Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, velocity 551.
catering vehicles are on their way.
Qantas 141, cross runway 34 left at Golf. Continue taxi via Golf, Bravo. Hold short runway 07. Cross runway 34 left at Golf. Continue taxi via Golf, Bravo. Hold short runway 07, Qantas 141. Velocity 808, contact Sydney Tower 124.7.
Contact Tower 124.7, velocity 808, bye-bye.
Fuel truck is in
Eastern
position.
260, request taxi.
Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to do.
Eastern 260, runway 34 right taxi via Bravo 2, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07. Runway 34 right taxi via Bravo 2, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07, Eastern 260. Jetstar 912, contact Sydney Tower 124.7.
Over to Tower 124.7, Jetstar 912, bye-bye.
Qantas 141, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, Qantas 141.
Boarding completed.
Rex 314, request taxi.
Rex 314, runway 34 right taxi via Bravo 4, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07.
Runway 34 right taxi via Bravo 4, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07, Rex 314.
Welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew. Then we'll be on
Velocity 551, contact Sydney Tower 124.7.
USX, you give them your full undivided attention as they review the safety operations of the
Contact Tower 124.7, velocity 551.
If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
All aircraft be advised information Tango now current, QNH 1026. Qantas 140, Gate 55 taxi via Uniform 1, Lima, Sierra, Bravo 10, Bravo. Hold short runway 34 left.
Gate 55 via Uniform 1, Lima, Sierra, Bravo 10, Bravo. Hold short runway 34 left, Qantas 140.
Rex 314, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, Rex 314.
Jetstar 456, Gate Delta 57, request pushback and engine start.
Jetstar 456, Sydney ground, pushback and engine start approved. Face south.
Pushback approved, face south, Jetstar 456.
Eastern 260, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, Eastern 260. Velocity 551. Contact Sydney Tower 124.7, bye-bye. Contact Tower 124.7, velocity 551, bye-bye. Qantas 140, cross runway 34 left at Lima. Continue taxi via Lima, Alpha, Juliet, Yankee. Hold short runway 07.
Cross runway 34 left at Lima. Continue taxi via Lima, Alpha, Juliet, Yankee. Hold short runway 07, Qantas 140.
Jetstar 456, ready to taxi to the active.
Jetstar 456, runway 34 right taxi via Charlie, Bravo 4, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07.
Flight attendants, arm doors, and cross-check.
Runway 34 right taxi via Charlie, Bravo 4, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 07, Jetstar 456.
Qantas 141, contact Sydney Tower 124.7. Over to Tower 124.7, Qantas 141, bye-bye. Jetstar 456, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6.
Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, Jetstar 456.
Locking gear.
Qantas 140, cross runway 07 at Yankee. Continue taxi via Yankee, int 5.
Cross runway 07 at Yankee. Continue taxi via Yankee, int 5 Qantas 140.
Qantas for 09, gate 31, request pushback.
Release parking brakes, please.
Qantas 409, Sydney ground, pushback approved. Face east.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face east. Qantas for 09.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Rex 314, contact Sydney Tower 124.7. Over to Tower 124.7, Rex 314. Eastern 260, contact Sydney Tower 124.7. Contact Tower 124.7, Eastern 260, bye-bye.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Please set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Jetstar 456. Contact Sydney Tower 124.7.
Over to Tower 124.7, Jetstar 456.
Qantas for 09, taxi for departure.
Qantas 409, runway 34 right taxi via in 3, Alpha, Golf. Hold short runway 34 left.
Alright, we'll taxi to runway 3 for right via in 3 Alpha, Golf. Hold short runway 3 for left, Qantas for 09. Qantas for 09, holding short 3 for left.
Qantas 409, hold short of 34 left. I'll call you back.
Affirmative, hold short of 3 for left, Qantas for 09.
Jetstar 202, Gate Delta 49 a taxi via Uniform 1, Lima, Sierra, Bravo 10, Charlie. Hold short runway 07.
Gate Delta 49 via Uniform 1, Lima, Sierra, Bravo 10, Charlie. Hold short runway 07, Jetstar 202.
Qantas for 09, waiting to cross 07.
Qantas 409, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6.
Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6 Qantas for 09.
New Zealand 240, ramp 12, request pushback and engine start.
New Zealand 240, Sydney ground, pushback approved. Face southwest.
Pushback approved. Face southwest. New Zealand 240.
Qantas 409, hold position for traffic.
Hold position for traffic, Qantas for 09.
New Zealand 240, request taxi to the active.
New Zealand 240, runway 34 right taxi via int 1, int 2, Alpha, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 34 left.
Runway 34 right taxi via int 1, int 2, Alpha, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6. Hold short runway 34 left, New Zealand 240.
Qantas 409, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Charlie, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6.
Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Charlie, Golf, Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6 Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, continue taxi.
Continue taxi, Qantas for 09.
Jetstar 202, cross runway 07 at Charlie. Continue taxi via Charlie, Golf.
Cross runway 07 at Charlie. Continue taxi via Charlie, Golf, Jetstar 202.
New Zealand 240, cross runway 34 left at Golf. Continue taxi via Golf, Bravo. Hold short runway 07.
Cross runway 34 left at Golf. Continue taxi via Golf, Bravo. Hold short runway 07, New Zealand 240.
New Zealand 240, cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6.
Cross runway 07 at Bravo. Continue taxi via Bravo, Lima, Tango, Tango 6, New Zealand 240.
New Zealand 221, ramp 12 taxi via Uniform 1, Lima, Sierra, Bravo 10, Charlie. Hold short runway 07.
Ramp 12 via Uniform 1, Lima, Sierra, Bravo 10, Charlie. Hold short runway 07, New Zealand 221.
Qantas 409, contact Sydney Tower 124.7.
Contact Tower 12 for decimal 7, Qantas for 09.
All aircraft be advised information uniform now current, QNH1026.
Qantas for 09, holding short, runway 3 for right.
Qantas 409, hold short of tree 4 right.
Affirm, hold short of 3 for right, Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, runway tree 4 right, line up and wait.
Runway 3 for right, line up and wait. Qantas for 09.
Qantas 162, exit left at Uniform 1.
Exit left at Uniform 1, Qantas 162.
Qantas 409, Sydney Tower, wind 295 at 7, runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 3 for right, cleared for takeoff. Qantas for 09.
holding short, runway 34 right.
New Zealand 240, Sydney Tower, wind 295 at 7, runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff, New Zealand 240.
Qantas 409, contact Sydney departure 129.7.
Contact Sydney departure 129.7, Qantas for 09. Sydney departure, Qantas for 09. Good morning, 2,000 feet.
Qantas 409, Sydney departure, identified, climb to flight level 160.
Climb to flight level 160, Qantas for 09.
Sydney departure, New Zealand 240, good morning, 700 feet.
New Zealand 240, Sydney departure, identified, climb to flight level 190.
Climb to flight level 190, New Zealand 240.
409. Contact Melbourne Centre 129.8.
Contact Melbourne Centre 129.8 Qantas for 09.
Indonesia 714 Heavy, Rivet 4, runway 34 left. Report ready for descent. Rivet 4, runway 34 left, ready for descent. Indonesia 714 Heavy. Indonesia 714 Heavy, descend to flight level 120. Descend to flight level 120, Indonesia 714 Heavy. Velocity 551, contact Melbourne Centre 119.5, have a good morning.
Centre on 119.5, velocity 551.
Qantas 410, Rivet 4, runway 34 left. Report ready for descent.
Rivet 4, runway 34 left, ready for descent. Qantas 410.
Qantas 410, descend to flight level 120.
Descend to flight level 120, Qantas 410.
Qantas 730, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026. Descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026, Qantas 730.
Melbourne Centre, Qantas for 09, through flight level 139er for flight level 160 direct wool.
Qantas 409, Melbourne Centre, good morning, identified, climb to flight level 320.
Climb to flight level 320, Qantas for 09.
Qantas 730, contact Sydney approach 124.4. Contact Sydney approach 124.4, Qantas 730. Melbourne Centre, Qantas 4 Heavy, descending via Marlin 5, flight level 125. Qantas 4 Heavy, Melbourne Centre, radar contact. Velocity 811, Rivet 4, runway 34 left. Report ready for descent.
Rivet 4, runway 34 left, ready for descent, velocity 811.
Velocity 811, descend to flight level 120.
Descend to flight level 120, velocity 811.
Qantas 4 Heavy, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026. Descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026, Qantas 4 Heavy. Melbourne Centre, New Zealand 240, good morning, flight level 190. Qantas 410, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026.
Descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026, Qantas 410.
New Zealand 240, Melbourne Centre, good morning, radar contact, climb to flight level 390. Climb to flight level 390, New Zealand 240. Qantas 4 Heavy, contact Sydney approach 128.3. Sydney approach 128.3, Qantas 4 heavy. Qantas 410, contact Sydney approach 124.4.
Contact Sydney approach 124.4, Qantas 410.
Melbourne Centre, Qantas 138, descending via Marlin 5, flight level 131. Qantas 138, Melbourne Centre, identified. Velocity 811, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026.
Descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026, velocity 811.
Qantas 138, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026. Descend to 9,000 feet, QNH1026, Qantas 138. Velocity 811, contact Sydney approach 124.4.
Contact Sydney approach 124.4, velocity 811.
Emirates 3 Hotel Juliet Super, contact Brisbane Centre 128.6.
Contact Brisbane Centre 128.6, Emirates 3 Hotel Juliet Super.
Qantas 138, contact Sydney approach 128.3. Contact Sydney approach 128.3, Qantas 138. New Zealand 240, contact Brisbane Centre 128.6, have a good morning.
Centre on 128.6, New Zealand 240.
Indonesia 714 Heavy, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH 1026.
Descend to 9,000 feet, QNH 1026, Indonesia 714 Heavy.
Qantas 409, Melbourne Centre. Amendment to your route advised ready to copy.
Wilco, ready to copy. Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, expect radar vectors. ILS Yankee runway 16.
Expect radar vectors, ILS Yankee runway 16, Qantas for 09.
Velocity 252, contact Melbourne Centre 135.7 bye-bye.
Contact Melbourne Centre 135.7, velocity 252.
Qantas 609, contact Melbourne Centre 118.6, have a good morning.
Contact Melbourne Centre 118.6, Qantas 609.
Qantas for 09, ready for descent.
Qantas 409, Melbourne Airport landing runway 16.
Melbourne Airport, landing runway 16, Qantas for 09.
Melbourne Centre, Jetstar 431, good morning, flight level 228.
Jetstar 431, Melbourne Centre, good morning, radar contact, continue climb to flight level 360.
Continue climb to flight level 360, Jetstar 431.
Velocity 306, contact Melbourne Centre 118.6, have a good morning.
3600 broken. Temperature 16.
Centre on 118.6, velocity 306.
1025. Landing runway 16. Departing runways 1627. Transition level 110. Read back all hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information India. Melbourne Airport information India. 2144 Zulu. Wind 190 at 5. Visibility 10 miles or more. Scattered at 1,400. Ceiling 2,500 broken. 3600 broken. Temperature 12. Dew point 09. QNH 1025. Landing runway 16. Departing runways 1627. Transition level 110. Read back all hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information India.
Qantas 409, descend to flight level 220.
Descend to flight level 220, Qantas for 09.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
Qantas 409, descend to flight level 160.
Descend to flight level 160, Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, contact Melbourne Centre 135.7, bye-bye.
Contact Melbourne Centre 135.7 Qantas for 09. Melbourne Centre, Qantas for 09. Good morning, flight level 173.
Qantas 409, Melbourne Centre, identified. Qantas 409, contact Melbourne approach 132.0.
Contact Melbourne approach 132.0 Qantas for 09. Melbourne approach, Qantas for 09, flight level 16 for We Have India.
Qantas 409 Melbourne approach, QNH1025 expect radar vectors for ILS Yankee runway 16.
QNH1025 expect radar vectors for ILS Yankee runway 16 Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, descend to 6,000 feet, QNH1025.
Descend to 6,000 feet, QNH1025 Qantas for 09.
Velocity 252, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Contact Tower 120.5, velocity 252.
Melbourne approach, velocity 726, good morning, flight level 19 a tree with the numbers.
Velocity 726 Melbourne approach, QNH1025 expect the ILS Yankee runway 16.
QNH1025 expect the ILS Yankee runway 16, velocity 726.
Velocity 726, descend to 8,000 feet, QNH1025.
Descend to 8,000 feet, QNH1025, velocity 726.
Melbourne approach, Qantas 609, flight level 1901 We Have India.
Qantas 609 Melbourne approach, QNH1025 expect the ILS Yankee runway 16.
QNH1025 expect the ILS Yankee runway 16, Qantas 609.
Qantas 609, descend to 8,000 feet, QNH1025.
Descend to 8,000 feet, QNH1025, Qantas 609.
Traffic. Traffic.
Qantas 409, turn right, heading 290 vectors for the approach.
Turn right, heading 290 Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, turn right, heading 290, descend to 5,000 feet.
Turn right, heading 290, descend to 5,000 feet, Qantas for 09.
Melbourne approach, velocity 306. Good morning, flight level 1901, we have India.
Qantas 409, descend to 4,000 feet.
Descend to 4,000 feet, Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, turn left, heading 245.
Turn left, heading 245, Qantas for 09.
Velocity 306 Melbourne approach, QNH1025, expect the ILS Yankee runway 16.
QNH1025, expect the ILS Yankee runway 16, velocity 306.
Velocity 306, descend to 8,000 feet, QNH1025.
Descend to 8,000 feet, QNH1025, velocity 306.
Qantas 409, descend to 3,000 feet.
Descend to 3,000 feet, Qantas for 09.
Qantas 409, 4 miles from Belter, turn left, heading 165, maintain 3,000 feet until established on the final approach course. Cleared ILS Yankee runway 16.
Turn left, heading 165, 3,000 feet until established. Cleared ILS Yankee runway 16, Qantas for 09.
Velocity 726, descend to 5,000 feet. Descend to 5,000 feet, velocity 726. 609, descend to 5,000 feet.
Descend to 5,000 feet. Qantas 609.
Qantas 409, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Over to Tower 120.5, Qantas for 09. Melbourne Tower, Qantas for 09, ILS Yankee runway 16.
Qantas 409, Melbourne Tower, wind 190 at 5, runway 16 cleared to land.
Runway 16 cleared to land, Qantas for 09.
New Zealand 214, ready for departure, runway 27. New Zealand 214, Melbourne Tower, wind 190 at 5, runway 27 cleared for takeoff. Runway 27 cleared for takeoff, New Zealand 214. Qantas 876, ready to go, runway 27. Qantas 876, hold short of 27, departing traffic. Roger, hold short of 27 for traffic, Qantas 876. Qantas 876, runway 27, line up and wait.
1,000.
Runway 27, line up and wait, Qantas 876. Qantas 876, Melbourne Tower, wind 190 at 5, runway 27 cleared for takeoff. Runway 27 cleared for takeoff, Qantas 876. New Zealand 214, contact Melbourne departure 129.4. Contact Melbourne departure 129.4, New Zealand 214.
Above. Minimum.
Qantas 876, contact Melbourne departure 129.4. Contact Melbourne departure 129.4, Qantas 876.
50. 40.
All aircraft be advised, information Juliet now current, QNH1025.
5.
Melbourne Tower, velocity 726, ILS Yankee runway 16.
Velocity 726, Melbourne Tower, continue.
Wilco, velocity 726.
Auto brake off.
Qantas 409, exit left at Juliet.
Exit left at Juliet, Qantas for 09.
Velocity 827, ready to go, runway 27.
Velocity 827 Melbourne Tower. Wind 200 at 6 runway 27 cleared for takeoff.
Runway 27, cleared for takeoff, velocity 827.
Qantas 409, contact ground 121.7.
Ground 121.7 Qantas for 09. Have a good morning. Qantas for 09. Request taxi to assigned gate.
Qantas 409, gate Delta 16 taxi via Victor, uniform, Alpha.
Gate Delta 16 via Victor, uniform, Alpha, Qantas for 09.
Velocity 679, request taxi.
Velocity 679, runway 27 taxi via Golf, Alpha, Echo, Papa.
Runway 27 taxi via Golf, Alpha, Echo, Papa, velocity 679. Jetstar 508, gate Golf 51, request pushback and engine start.
Jetstar 508, Melbourne ground, pushback approved. Face north.
Pushback and engine start approved, face north, Jetstar 508. Tango 1543 at gate Charlie 2, request pushback.
Tango 1543, Melbourne ground, pushback approved. Face north.
Pushback and engine start approved, face north, Tango 1543.
Velocity 726, gate Foxtrot 2 tree taxi via Golf.
Gate Foxtrot 2 tree via Golf, velocity 726.
Velocity 679, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Over to Tower 120.5, velocity 679. Jetstar 508, request taxi to the active.
Jetstar 508, runway 27 taxi via Sierra, Yankee, Alpha, Echo, Papa.
Alright, we'll taxi to runway 27 via Sierra, Yankee, Alpha, Echo, Papa, Jetstar 508.
Qantas 609, gate Charlie 9 taxi via Golf, Victor, Foxtrot, Echo, Papa, Tango, Quebec.
Gate Charlie 9 via Golf, Victor, Foxtrot, Echo, Papa, Tango, Quebec, Qantas 609.
Qantas 610, gate Charlie 6, request pushback.
Qantas 610, Melbourne ground, hold position for traffic. I'll call you back.
Hold position for traffic, Qantas 610. Tango 1543, ready to taxi to the active.
Tango 1543, runway 27 taxi via Papa.
Runway 27 taxi via Papa, Tango 1543.
Qantas 610, Melbourne ground, pushback and engine start approved. Face north.
Pushback approved, face north, Qantas 610.
Tango 1543, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Contact Tower 120.5, Tango 1543, bye-bye.
The door is verified?
Velocity 306, gate Echo 6 taxi via Golf. Gate Echo 6 via Golf, velocity 306. Jetstar 508, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Contact Tower 120.5, Jetstar 508, bye-bye. Qantas 610, taxi for departure.
Qantas 610, runway 27 taxi via Papa.
Runway 27 taxi via Papa, Qantas 610.
Passengers to boarding started.
Qantas 610, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Contact Tower 120.5, Qantas 610, bye-bye. Jetstar 900, gate Golf 59er, request pushback and engine start.
Jetstar 900, Melbourne ground. Pushback and engine start approved. Face north.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face north. Jetstar 900.
Air India 309 Heavy. At gate Delta 5, request pushback.
Air India 309 Heavy, Melbourne ground. Pushback approved. Face north.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face north. Air India 309 Heavy.
Jetstar 900, taxi for departure.
Jetstar 900, runway 27 taxi via Alpha, Echo, Papa.
Runway 27 taxi via Alpha, Echo, Papa, Jetstar 900.
Air India 309 Heavy, ready to taxi to the active.
Air India 309 Heavy, runway 16 taxi via Papa, Echo, Alpha, Bravo. Hold short runway 27.
Runway 16 taxi via Papa, Echo, Alpha, Bravo. Hold short runway to 7 Air India 309 Heavy.
309 heavy, cross runway 27 at Alpha. Continue taxi via Alpha, Bravo.
Cross runway 27 at Alpha. Continue taxi via Alpha, Bravo, Air India 309 heavy.
Jetstar 900, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Over to Tower 120.5, Jetstar 900. Have a good morning.
Jetstar 431, gate Golf 59 a taxi via Golf, Victor, Yankee, Alpha.
Gate Golf 59 via Golf, Victor, Yankee, Alpha, Jetstar 431.
Air India 309 heavy, contact Melbourne Tower 120.5.
Over to Tower 120.5, Air India 309 heavy.
Velocity 829, at gate Foxtrot 20, request pushback and engine start.
Velocity 829, Melbourne ground, pushback and engine start approved. Face west.
Pushback approved. Face west. Velocity 829.
Qantas 430, gate Charlie 11, request pushback.
Qantas 430, Melbourne ground, pushback and engine start approved. Face north.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face north, Qantas 430. Qantas 79 heavy, gate Delta 12, request pushback.
Qantas 79 heavy, Melbourne ground, pushback approved. Face southwest.
Pushback approved. Face southwest, Qantas 79 heavy.
Velocity 829, ready to taxi to the active.
Velocity 829, runway 27 taxi via Yankee, Alpha, Echo, Papa.
Qantas 430, ready to taxi to the active.
Qantas 430, runway 27 taxi via Tango, Quebec, Echo, Papa.
Runway 27 taxi via Tango, Quebec, Echo, Papa, Qantas 430. Qantas 79 Heavy, request taxi to the active.
Qantas 79 Heavy, runway 16 taxi via Uniform, Alpha, Bravo. Hold short runway 27.
Runway 16 taxi via Uniform, Alpha, Bravo. Hold short runway 27, Qantas 79 Heavy.